Now, from WYDC TV, this is Big Fox News at 10.
A major employer in the region has decided to move its employees out of the office and work from home permanently. Matt Kleindienst is in Corning with the fallout from that decision.
Good evening, Scott. The office space in Big Flats is now open following the abrupt departure of Wayfair and hundreds of their employees, shocking some in Chemung County.
What's happening with Wayfair is similar to what's happening with a lot of office space businesses, across the nation.
After months of having their employees work from home, the online home furnishing giant Wayfair decided to make their entire 200-person call center fully remote. While Wayfair claims the move wasn't predicated by the ongoing pandemic, Kamala Keeley of the Chemung County Chamber of Commerce says it likely accelerated their decision.
Perhaps what they saw during the pandemic was that they were able to still keep those employees motivated. They were successfully working remotely. They were achieving goals and hitting, the marks that they needed to have it be successful.
Wayfair was first brought to the Southern Tier in 2018 on the promise that they would create up to 450 jobs for the county. Less than half of the positions have been filled. However, the county has been reassured that Wayfair's employees will be kept in the area.
Even though they don't have that workforce in the building specifically, they still do have, Chemung County and Southern Tier employees, which I think is an important component to remember.
Keeley says the county could see more companies follow suit depending on how well offices adjust to working remotely.
And that's part of it that's kind of up in the air right now, is how is that remote workforce making those ends meet for the companies.
As for the office space, Kamala Keeley tells me the county will work to recruit new businesses into the open space. Matt Kleindienst, Big Fox, WYDC in Corning.
The Food Bank of the Southern Tier wrapped up its annual Check Out Hunger campaign with some resounding success. More than 747,000 meals were donated by area residents between January and mid-March. Catherine Strasser says the food bank is grateful for the community support as more residents are in need of food services.
So to have this kind of support is extremely heartwarming, especially during a time of need when we're experiencing and seeing such an uptick in requests for support from our services.
All the donations made during this campaign will stay in the area. Currently, 1 in 9 Southern Tier residents are considered food insecure. More Americans will be eligible for a coronavirus vaccine this week. States are ramping up distribution, but COVID-19 cases are on the rise. David Lee Miller reports.
More than 140 million COVID vaccine doses have been administered in the U.S. The pace of vaccinations is ramping up, with around 3.5 million shots handed out on Saturday. Starting today, Ohio, Texas, and Louisiana will increase vaccine eligibility to all adults. Nearly every state has pledged to meet President Biden's goal of making every American adult eligible by May 1st.
You're starting to really see a critical mass of people being eligible for vaccinations.
The country averaged more than 61,000 new infections last week, up about 10% from 2 weeks ago. New Jersey and New York once again topped the list of states with the highest rate of infection. Public health officials blame the surge, in part, on the easing of restrictions and the potential spread of COVID-19 variants.
There's one possibility that we've seen the worst of it and that we've seen most of the mutations. An alternative is that there will be more mutations to come that we might be concerned about.
Meanwhile, the World Health Organization is preparing to release its report into the origins of COVID-19 in China. According to a draft obtained by the Associated Press, researchers say the virus most likely was transmitted from an animal to humans. The report's release has been delayed several times, drawing criticism from public health officials.
The world has to be way, way more involved. We wanted boots on the ground initially. We didn't get it.
The WHO says it plans to release its report on Tuesday. In New York, David Lee Miller, Fox News.
A new study shows vaccines from Pfizer and Moderna work as expected in real-world conditions. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention followed nearly 4,000 healthcare workers and first responders to see how the vaccines are working. Some had received both doses, others just one dose, and some had not been vaccinated at all. Researchers found both vaccines were 90% effective at preventing infections, even asymptomatic ones. They also affirm both shots are 80% effective after just a single dose. These results are what scientists expected based on clinical trials, But those results don't always match up to what happens when real-world conditions are introduced. President Biden is back in Washington today after spending the weekend in Delaware. On his return to the White House, the president defended his administration's handling of the migrant surge along the border. Ray Bogan has more on how Republicans and Democrats remain at odds over what needs to be done.
Staff prepared burgers at a newly opened migrant shelter in San Diego over the weekend. Unaccompanied females ages 13 to 17 will stay at this facility through mid-July.
We are here because we were asked by the U.S. federal government to provide a temporary home for young people while we do the important work of reuniting them with families or sponsors, either here in the U.S. or elsewhere.
Fox News confirmed through a Customs and Border Protection official the surge of migrant children could last 7 months. Now, the Department of Health and Human Services is asking employees to volunteer to go down to the border for up to 120 days to help care for the children.
We are putting in place a plan that I feel very confident about.
This would be really simple to solve. All you would need to do is hold people in custody pending their asylum proceedings. If we did that, these people would stop coming because they know the vast majority do not have legitimate asylum claims.
The Biden administration restricted media access to Border Patrol agents and detention facilities. Lawmakers are calling for more access, including Senator Ted Cruz, who wrote to President Biden about his recent tour and said the media, quote, could not show the American people what it looks like when a tent city built to house 250 children under COVID restrictions instead houses 4,200.
We are mindful of the fact that we are in the middle of a pandemic. We want to keep these kids safe, keep the staff safe.
As of Friday, there were more than 18,000 unaccompanied children in U.S. custody. Ray Bogan, Fox News.
Less than 3 weeks after signing a historic $1.9 trillion COVID relief law, President Biden is set to unveil the second big legislative push of his administration. But this second proposal might be more difficult to pass because it includes tax increases. John Lawrence reports.
The Biden administration's Build Back Better package calls for roughly $3 trillion worth of new spending. The president's plan is comprised of 2 separate proposals. The first focuses on improving U.S. infrastructure like highways and bridges.
We shouldn't be 13th in the world. I don't think anyone believes that.
Home-based issues are included in the second part to be announced in April.
Healthcare, childcare, addressing that. It's a crisis right now. The number of women who have left the workforce, he wants to help to address that.
Biden says the Build Back Better plan will create millions of jobs while giving America's working families the tools, choices, and freedom needed to boost the U.S. economy. It also calls for hundreds of billions in tax credits, something Republicans in D.C. are pouncing on.
A so-called infrastructure proposal that may actually be a Trojan horse for massive tax hikes and other job-killing left-wing policies.
Others are concerned about the project's price tag.
Once you go into we're just going to raise corporate tax rates, that's going to be tough because right now infrastructure is funded by the gas tax. So we have to have a discussion about that.
I'm John Lawrence reporting.
It was a cry for help heard around the world. The final words of George Floyd captured on video as a Minneapolis police officer knelt on the back of Floyd's neck for several minutes. For months, all eyes were on the protests that sprung up in the wake of his death. And now all eyes are on the courtroom as opening statements are delivered in the murder trial of that former officer, Derek Chauvin. Daryl Forges is in Minneapolis with a look at what to expect.
Today starts a landmark trial that will be a referendum on how far America has come.
Civil rights activists and members of George Floyd's family gathering in Minneapolis today as a trial for the man they believe is responsible for Floyd's death gets underway. Derek Chauvin has pleaded not guilty to charges of second-degree unintentional murder and second-degree manslaughter, as well as third-degree murder.
Mr. Blackwell, do you wish to open? You may proceed.
In opening statements, prosecutors beginning to lay out their case against the former Minneapolis police officer.
We plan to prove to you, beyond a reasonable doubt, that Mr. Chauvin was anything other than innocent.
Highlighting the now infamous video showing Chauvin's knee on the back of Floyd's neck.
Mr. Derek Chauvin betrayed this badge when he used excessive and unreasonable force upon the body of Mr. George Floyd.
Chauvin's attorney argued Chauvin was following police protocol and had no intent to harm Floyd.
And you will learn
that Derek Chauvin did exactly what he had been trained to do over the course of his 19-year career.
The trial is set to last for 3 to 4 weeks, but its impact could endure far into the future.
Today is the beginning of a new era for Minneapolis, Minnesota, and for America.
In Minneapolis, I'm Daryl Forges.
Still ahead tonight, it's the million-dollar question. What can Americans safely do and not do after being fully vaccinated?
This will help inform science-based decisions about mask use and about social distancing post-vaccination.
We'll tell you about a new study underway to help health experts determine CDC guidelines for those who are vaccinated.
Here's your local stock market update from Big Fox. Now, your Twin Tiers forecast from Big Fox.
Tonight's Big Fox forecast is brought to you by William Mattar. Good evening, everyone. I'm meteorologist Kim Walker with your weather update. Winds have been coming from the west-northwest throughout the day, and it's been a breezy day, bringing our temperatures downward, and so that has left us with temperature readings about 16 degrees cooler in Elmira this afternoon than it was yesterday. 15 degrees cooler in Corning and about 14 degrees cooler in Bath and also in Watkins Glen. We are expecting a very cold start to our day tomorrow with readings mainly around 30 degrees at 5 o'clock, 31 at 6. Plenty of sunshine during the day, and that will help to bring those temperatures up. Add to that southerly winds, and we are expecting temperatures that are going to be about 20 degrees warmer than today, with highs mainly in the 60s. Plenty of sunshine, but by the end of the day, clouds will start to increase as another system approaches. So by 10 o'clock tomorrow morning, we are expecting mostly sunny conditions with readings around 52, 67 degrees at 8 o'clock, and then by 6 o'clock, we drop down only to around 63 degrees. So it's going to be a fabulous day tomorrow. However, here's our next storm system. Not only is it going to bring rain, but there's also the possibility of snow as well. By Tuesday, that low pressure system will be near the Great Lakes region, along with that cold front associated with it. And then on Wednesday, it will push right over our area. And I think by Wednesday night, any precipitation that will remain will be switching over to snow. So our future radar is showing quiet weather for tonight as well as throughout the day on Tuesday. Then we move into the early morning hours on Wednesday. Around 10 o'clock in the morning, there will be a few showers moving through Chemung County, as you can see right there. Otherwise, it is going to be mostly cloudy. And then the rain really starts to increase in the late afternoon into the evening hours, becoming more widespread, and it could get a little bit heavier. Notice the purple that's showing up. That's a wintry mix of rain and snow, and the blue is indicating that colder air that will be switching our precipitation into snow. So about 10 o'clock in the evening on Wednesday, it looks like from Ithaca to Corning, there could be a wintry mix and then some snow possible in Bath and also in Hornell. And then in the overnight, we are expecting a few snow showers that will continue into the early morning hours on your Thursday. But for tonight, we are expecting mostly clear conditions. It will be very cold. Temperatures diving down to around 26 degrees in Elmira and 29 degrees in Corning. Highs tomorrow, take a look at this, 68 degrees. Could you believe it? And we are going to see partly cloudy skies, breezy conditions by the afternoon, and then it gets quite cold for the end of the week. 39 degrees the high on Thursday, with the possibility of rain and snow early in the day, and then by Friday, partly cloudy skies with a high at 39.
It is the million-dollar question. What can Americans safely do and not do once they're fully vaccinated? Right now, a new trial is underway to try and come up with some of those answers. Mandy Gaither has more in today's Health Minute.
They're doing their part to help stop the spread of COVID-19, rolling up their sleeves, getting fully vaccinated. Still, there's a lot they're advised not to do, but a new clinical trial may change that.
This will help inform science-based decisions about mask use and about social distancing post-vaccination.
Right now, for those fully vaccinated, the CDC is still advising against travel and continues to recommend masks and social distancing unless around a small group of other fully vaccinated people or with those who are low risk, unvaccinated, and from a single household. The trial now underway is looking into how COVID-19 may spread by studying 12,000 college students at more than 20 universities across the U.S.
We hope that within the next 5 or so months, we'll be able to answer the very important question about whether vaccinated people get infected asymptomatically, and if they do they transmit the infection to others?
One group of 6,000 students will get Moderna's vaccine immediately. The other half will get the vaccine 4 months later. The students will fill out questionnaires and will swab their noses daily, as well as provide blood samples. Their close contacts will also provide samples.
When these people get infected, how often is that? If they're asymptomatic, how much virus do they have in their nose? And do they transmit it to people who are their close contacts?
Those answers will help form recommendations on the future for the fully vaccinated. For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
Essential workers, like UPS delivery drivers, have helped millions get through this pandemic. In Midland, Texas, UPS honored one of its own this weekend who nearly lost his life to COVID-19. Shane Battis has the story.
These UPS trucks, motorcycles, and decorated cars all lined up to wish a happy birthday to an old friend they say is one of a kind.
He's one that will light up a room when he walks in with just a smile.
He's one of those ones that you'll never forget, the way he comes in and he makes it known that he's there, smiles every day.
The team says they've been worried about their coworker William Torres after they found out how hard the virus had hit him. This parade is the first time many have seen him since December, and they're hoping the crew can put a smile on his face.
You'll be surprised, hopefully.
I'd say he was. Torres says he was overjoyed to see so many old friends pay him a visit and show how much they love him.
Oh, it was great. Because in the hospital, I finally got to have one guest, and my wife would go every day, But seeing a bunch of people is a totally different thing,
It's support he can certainly use after he went through a difficult 64 days in the hospital after his diagnosis. He says doctors kept him in the ICU for part of that time when his lungs began to struggle.
Oh, yeah, it's like, you can't breathe. Let me cover your mouth with my hand and just leave you a little opening for you to breathe.
For a while, Torres thought the virus might kill him, but instead he got better, and now he's working every day to keep getting stronger so he can get back to 100%. And he won't be doing it alone.
UPS family, we stick together and with everybody that showed up. It's gladly appreciated. I know it made his day because it was unexpected from where he was, a couple months ago to where he is now.
As he continues to recover, Torres says he hopes other people take the virus seriously so they don't have to go through what he did.
Because a lot of people catch it and they get a mild version of it, but if you get the severe version like I did, it's going to try to kill you. And I say wear your mask. It's not worth dying for,
A family in Kentucky had a surprise primate visitor over the weekend. Now wildlife officials are trying to figure out how that monkey made it to their doorstep. Taylor Durden has more.
In the small town of Owenton, Kentucky, surrounded by rolling hills for miles, deer hunting and being outdoors is a way of life.
Definitely lots of outdoors activities.
Owen County ranks third in the bluegrass region of the state for deer harvest.
Our woods are very well traveled, which is why it was sort of like, where did this monkey come from? Because nobody had seen him before.
Audrey Lewis's grandfather says he first saw the monkey on Sunday on his back deck.
We thought he was joking with us, something.
But as they soon realized,
look at him!
He wasn't.
Hi, buddy.
They started to feed it, leaving food on the deck and in the cage to make it easier to transport to a safer place.
Here.
In a short time,
You want to tell everybody hi?
It clung to Audrey.
We were pals. He was my friend.
Wanting her to stay outside and play.
Can you tell everybody hi? He would climb on me. He was picking stuff off my sleeves and playing with my jeans. He was super, super friendly.
In the state of Kentucky, it's illegal to have a primate as a pet.
Which begged the question again, where did this monkey come from? Why is he here?
This capuchin monkey had a collar on, so was it someone's pet? That's what the Department of Fish and Wildlife is trying to figure out.
We don't know how the animal got to this home in Owen County. They're looking into who might have owned it, where it might have come from. These are all information that our officers are interested in.
Now this monkey, which is only about a year old, is at the Primate Rescue Center in Nicholasville.
So important and so vital for them to stay with their mothers and be where they're supposed to be. And as much as we might want to or think that they're adorable, in the end, it's just not actually what's best for them.
Eileen Dallaire says they'll care for this monkey for life.
She's a little bit skinny, so our focus is all about her. It's not about anything other than what she needs and what's best for her.
In Owenton, Kentucky, Taylor Durden, Wave 3 News.
A massive container ship has been dislodged and is now floating after blocking the Suez Canal in Egypt for almost a week. Tugboats had spent several hours today working to free the bow of the massive vessel after dislodging the stern earlier in the day. The rescue operation had intensified in both urgency and global attention with each day that passed, as ships from around the world carrying vital fuel and cargo were blocked from entering the canal during the crisis, raising alarm over the impact on global supply chains. People at the canal cheered as news of today's progress came in. A property made famous by the first family of Canadian comedy is up for sale. Jeremy Roth has today's Take a Look at This.
The motel made famous by television's Schitt's Creek is up for sale, and that is the last time I'll be saying the name of the show. The 10-room motel in Ontario was the setting for the aforementioned Emmy-sweeping series, in which an uber-wealthy family becomes bankrupt and must relocate to the rural town of the town in question. Hilarity ensues when they're forced to move into a dilapidated motel.
You diva!
Fans of the Eugene Levy Show know the property as the Rosebud Motel, but its real name is the Hockley Motel, and it includes more than 6 acres of land and backs up to a waterway. No, it's not the creek from the show's title, it's the Nottawasaga River, which I'll also not try to say again. Interested parties better start saving. The property's being listed for $1.5 million. From a sitcom that was the bomb to an actual bomb. Cannonball, really. This unexploded Civil War-era cannonball was discovered in Maryland. After authorities confirmed its authenticity and that it was still a live round, the cannonball was destroyed, seen here in video that looks like it's from the 1800s, but it's actually just from a really old phone. Finally, a group of firefighters saved the day for one cute little dog named Bean. The Kamloops Fire Department in British Columbia says the pooch got its head stuck in a reclining sofa. The dog's owner says the firefighters arrived within minutes and dismantled the couch. Bean made it out just fine, and from now on should probably stick to the Bark-a-Lounger. You see, it is funny because she is a dog. For Take a Look at This, I'm Jeremy Roth.
We want to leave you with a smile tonight. This dog is settling into his new forever home after getting some attention for his shoplifting. Yeah, he's about a year old and named Sisu. He repeatedly broke into a Dollar General in Duplin County, North Carolina, and stole this purple unicorn. The store eventually called Animal Services, and the responding officer just decided to go ahead and buy the toy for him. On his adoption information, the shelter says Sisu, quote, knows sit, lay, heel, and loves unicorns from Dollar General. Now he's stolen someone's heart, and he and his toy have found a new family. Thanks so much for joining us. Have a great night.